spondylosis is a general term. It's not really a medical term. It's not very descriptive. It's a general term that describes what is happening to the spinal motion segment. When I say spinal motion segment, that means two segments of the vertebra. This is called the spinal motion segment, one on top of the other. Okay, so spondylosis has to do with any kind of imbalance, for example, or disease process that is happening to this spinal motion segment. So we have several joints here. We have the facet joint, which is in the back of the spinal segment, and we also have the disc between the two vertebrae. So these two areas are areas that can be affected by different types of physical force, or could be affected by trauma, any kind of accidents or fall. All those things could affect the spinal segment or how they work. So one of the most common things that happen is called the osteoarthritis of the spine, and that usually affects the facet joints. So when these things happen, then you are presented with pain, swelling, and inability to move because it's painful. Those things are present when we have a problem in the facet joint. When we have a disc problem between the two vertebrae, that is more serious, because when the disc is compromised, and that could also compromise the nerves that are coming out between these two vertebrae. So when you have a disc that are, for example, have a discus hernia, which is a very common problem that people have, then we could have a nerve root compression, which could also affect how the muscles work or even how the organ works. So anytime we see those kinds of a problem, then we have to address what is causing the spondylosis and then address those causes so that the person is without pain. So typically when you have an imbalance in the physical body, for example, postural distortion, I emphasize posture a lot in my treatment. When you have an improper posture, then it could also affect how the vertebral segment works. So if you have a bad posture, for example, that could eventually lead to spondylosis. Okay, so that will be one of the aspects, one of the things that I would address when I'm evaluating a patient.